This is going to be one of the craziest shows ever. You're not even going to believe what I'm going to tell you. Mexico Beach in Bay County was devastated by Hurricane Michael. And in April, a new mayor was elected. A lady was elected, Michelle Miller. And she has presided over 3 meetings now. She used to be on the planning board. Wait till you hear that story. And the city, Mexico Beach, has received, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million in FEMA money. I mentioned that number yesterday. I went to the meeting and talked to the council and documented it. You're not going to believe the footage I'm going to show you. And I mentioned the number 100 million. Nobody corrected it. And I asked, if I'm wrong about anything, please correct it. So let's talk about this. So Michelle Miller gets elected. The mayor from 2005 until now has basically been Al Cathy. There was a 2-year break when Tom Bailey was the mayor in 2016, 2017. But the rest of the time, it's been Al Cathy has been the mayor. And Mario Gispert, you remember him? When he left Panama City Beach, he went over around 2019-ish, I believe, and was the city administrator in Mexico Beach. The city administrator. Y'all remember Mario Rico Gispert. So you had Al Cathy as the mayor, which is kind of like having Mike Thomas as the mayor, and Mario Gispert as the city administrator. Now, it's important to know that the cities that I've dealt with mostly, Panama City, Lynn Haven, Panama City Beach, they all have a form of government where you have a city council and a mayor who runs the meetings. But they are all basically, the city itself is basically run by a city manager who is accountable to the council. That's the type of city government I'm familiar with. I didn't know until I saw the charter that Mexico Beach is different. There are actually 2 municipalities, 2 cities in Bay County, I believe, have pretty much strong mayor cities too. Whew. So she gets elected and she says, okay, I need to see the financials. They won't let her see the financials. They come up with all kinds of reasons. I'm going to show you that she can't have full access to the financials. You're not going to believe this, but let me just show you a little teaser reel first. All right, just to give you a taste of what happened at the meeting last night, as the council formally tried to subvert her authority, which the city charter grants her a little bit more authority than the rest of the council members. The other 4 council members are the city bestows all powers upon them that are legislative in nature. But the mayor has a couple of extra jobs. She is the chief, the chief elected administrative and fiscal official, according to the city charter. And they actually had a review, a pretty intensive legal review done by Harris and Sale McCloy in 2015, which confirmed that. Now, they're pretending that doesn't say what it says it says. All right, so let me just give you a taste, a little 1-minute teaser of last night, and then I'm going to show you more detail. All right, you're not going to believe what I'm about to show you.
To do understand that we are a city council run, not the mayor.
You can't be more than that. That's what it is.
Okay.
Didn't you look at your job description before you
Yes,
took
sir.
the
I
job?
studied that and researched it quite well.
Whatever.
The press doesn't give you the right to stand,
I can stand here.
but it doesn't give you the right to stand because you're the press.
We are going to obey the order.
Yes.
The press doesn't give you the right to stand, but it doesn't give you the right to stand because you're the press.
We are going to obey the order of Robert's rule.
Okay.
let's calm down and let everybody have. You are.
Financial. There's been a lot of blanket accusations tonight. I'm a little sad that the legendary Bernie Thompson has left because I actually wanted to meet him because I followed the guy for years. But I was going to address some of his about same person signs the check, says whatever. And I think we have a misunderstanding of how our city operates.
All right.
What
All
if
right.
eating your dog fresh Whole Foods was easy? At Sundays.
What I want to do, what I want to do is I want to just show you how wild this was. All right. So especially right here, I was standing up. You know how I do it. I'll walk into a government meeting, and I'll find myself a spot out of the way, and I might record, I might not record, but I'm watching, right? So I'm doing that. And this room was packed. There were people outside the door. I'd say my feel for the room was about 2/3 of the room was in favor of the new mayor who just defeated Al Cathy in a big upset. And about 1/3 was vehemently against her. And, you know, I'm sort of standing up front out of the way. And I don't know this guy, never seen this guy, but I understand he's on the planning board. And during the meeting, front row, small room, front row, he yells at me that I can't record and to sit down, that I can't stand up in the meeting. All right. And I mean, I couldn't believe he was talking so loud because the meeting was taking place and we were right there. So I said, look, I'm with the press. That doesn't give you the right. And he takes a swipe at me, this guy. He swings his arm or his leg or something, and I turn. I'm like, and that's when the man. Look, watch this part. It's unbelievable. Right about here.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Didn't you look at your job description before you
Yes,
took
sir,
the
I
job?
studied that and researched it quite well.
Whatever.
Here.
The press doesn't give you the right to stand.
I can stand here.
But it doesn't give you the right to stand because you're the press.
Well,
We are going to obey the order.
The press doesn't give you the right to stand. But it doesn't give you the right to stand.
the press doesn't give you the right to stand. Now, I may have to cue up the clip because one of the council members after that says he can't just come in here and videotape. And even the city attorney, who I was critical of, says, yeah, he's with the press. But that doesn't mean that he get permission. He can't just come in here and record, can he? Just because, I mean, it was. So let me just tell you something. We have a municipal crisis in Mexico Beach. It's just a municipal crisis. You've got councilmen who don't think the press can stand up and videotape, and evidently planning board members. So let me tell you about Michelle Miller. You won't believe this. So she was a planning board member a year ago, 2 years ago. And she is, along with a couple of others on that planning board, as far as I know, and if you know better, correct me, she is the only. These are like these few planning board members just last year, November, are the only officials I've ever heard of in Bay County who were prosecuted. The current mayor lady, just 6 months ago, 4 months ago, prosecuted for sunshine law violations. And I don't know the details. I think it was an email or something. Larry Bassford, the state attorney, prosecuted them for sunshine law violations. Now, we have seen some real sunshine law violations by mayors, by city council members. I mean, we just had all of Lynn Haven, the mayor and the whole council, go to the state house in Tallahassee and take pictures with the new state representative, Griff Griffiths. And all of them are in the picture and they post on the page, on the Lynn Haven page. Proud to be with State Representative Griff Griffiths. We're all going to be voting on. and bringing some funding here. Like, oh my God, is there any more evidence than that? They got to vote on that stuff. The way sunshine laws work is members of the same council or commission, city council, city commission, or county commission, they cannot talk to each other outside of official business meetings, outside of official meetings, about things that might come up for vote. So it's real smart not to talk to each other unless you're in a meeting. We have seen unbelievable sunshine law violations. And I've been told the FDLE doesn't give a flip about them. Nobody enforces them. Certainly not Sheriff Ford or our own state prosecutor, state attorney Larry Bassford. But he did. Let me show you the story. It's just the most craziest thing I've. Oh, and it was dismissed. Dismissed. And what I think was probably happening is the same people now, the city attorney, the city administrator who took over from Mario Gisbert, and the councilman, they are trying to subvert the authority granted to the mayor under the city charter. I think they probably thought she was going to run for mayor. They wanted to destroy her. And so, you make a phone call to the state attorney's office. They actually prosecute sunshine law violation, but they dismiss it because of no evidence. So they actually do. I didn't know that. I didn't know they went after sunshine law violators, but only certain ones. And so the people who brought that to the state attorney's office, the people who were trying to basically put her in jail, are the current city administrator and the current city attorney. The city attorney is Clint McCahill. The city administrator who took over for Mario, his name is Doug Baber. And they wanted to put her in jail. And Larry Bassford was happy to oblige. Our own elected state prosecutor, the state attorney. But it was dismissed. She ran for office in April and won. Upset incumbent Al Cathy. And now she wants to take a look at the city's financials. But nobody there wants her looking at the city financials. After all, $100 million or so of FEMA money came through there. So I'm going to show you that story, and I'm going to show you more of the actual meetings right after this.
Is your past ruining your future? Having your record sealed or expunged wipes the slate clean, providing you with a new opportunity in life. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. Let's take a look at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, all right, when the mayor said, look, I really need access to the city's financials. I want you to see all of the reasons these guys said that she can't do that. And she has more authority than the mayor in Panama City, the mayor in Panama City Beach, and the mayor in Lynn Haven. The charter grant designates her as the chief elected fiscal official. Watch this. So this meeting was a couple of weeks ago, and you can see the mayor in the middle. All right. The guy closest to us on the right, that's Doug Baber. He's the city administrator. He's the only one with full access to all the financials. Then you've also got on the left, the first guy to our left, that's city attorney Clint McCahill. And listen to all the reasons why they don't want her to look into the city's financials.
Personal access, I did request, this is council access to accounting software. And I did request this from Debbie, or I talked with Debbie just to find out exactly, you know, what software we use, how it's used, and she was very informative. And I asked her, was there any problem with having access for the council to that software? As you know, outlined in our charter, as mayor, I should be able, when I'm having to be responsible, I should be able to see, not change anything, just a view only. And I felt it was very important for the council to be able to see this too, because, you know, we should have our thumb on the pulse here. So that's where this item's come up. I'm gonna let Mr. Baber talk a little bit about it. And
Remember, Mr. Baber, Doug Baber, is the guy in the bottom right. He's going to talk about the problems with giving the mayor full access. Her own account, read only, her own password, to look at the city's financial records and contracts. Listen to all of the reasons that Mr. Baber says that he should be the only one with full access to the city's financials. A city that got, I think, about $100 million in FEMA money.
then I can fill in.
Yes, ma'am. She requested that directly through Debbie. She sent an email to all the council members. I received an email.
Just so you know, Debbie is the accountant. All right. She's a part-time accountant, works from home oftentimes. She has partial access. He's the only one with full access. So when he talks about Debbie, he's talking about the accountant.
Or received some calls from the other council members at the table that said they'd like to talk about this in open forum because they couldn't email back and forth because of possible sunshine issues. So they asked for it to be at this table. So therefore, here we are. So the table's your guys. I do have a couple of thought process behind that. The IT rule of thumb generally is to provide users with the lowest access necessary so that they don't have too much access to the system. So that's what we practice with our internal controls. We also have things that would limit the possibility of misinterpreting information. Should you run a report or accidentally alter a report, even if view only, you could download a report and then change it. I do feel that there's concerns that if you download documents from our software system onto your personal computer, that personal computer becomes a public record, opens up your personal computer to public record searches. I do think that there's a possibility for password sharing. The opportunity behind, I cannot manage up for a council member. You guys are my bosses. I report to you. Should you do one of those things, even by accident, if I have a staff member that does that, there's repercussions for that. Should they, cause some kind of issue, we can deal with that internally, but I can't manage up. So I just want to make sure those points were addressed when you guys make your decision. Ultimately, I'll do whatever you want. It's a transparent public record. You can ask me for a document. I don't think we've ever turned you down for any reports that you might have to have. So we're open the presentation for the 6-month review. We continue to do that monthly for you guys and then quarterly. I do like Mr. Wolf's idea behind having it as a workshop.
These guys are freaking out. The city administrator, Doug Baber, he only wants to be able to come up and present to the council what's behind the curtain. And then you guys are up to date. What's the big deal? But the person charged by the city charter with being the chief elected fiscal official is the mayor. The mayor says, no, I've got to be able to see this stuff at any time. Give me read-only access. But I need to be able to see it at any time. Look at what a big deal that is. My understanding is he's the only one with full access. Is that insane?
So that we could drill down further. We are going to have a much better presentation this year at the financial budget hearings. I believe you're going to be far more impressed. Last year was a big step forward for us in our presentations for budget. I do feel that this summer's presentations are going to be even farther beyond that, and especially with your input. So I just wanted to add those internal concerns. And I did follow up with Bay County IT. This would not be any kind of VPN network, so it's not an issue to somebody hacking in, but they could take this document somewhere else and do something. But there is some external things that we could spend some money on if we wanted to that allow like open checkbooks or Gov. I forget what the Gov services is that's offered as part of Springbrook has that ClearGov. So they have some sites have that, like Milton, Georgia, and I looked at Palm Beach County, and you can actually drill down on the website, and every resident can see that. Those do cost money.
She has been the mayor now for 3 meetings. And she's still, and by the way, another lady just got elected. The other lady at the table in the white shirt, she just got elected. And last night she was asking, what is the holdup here? And they said, well, you know, it's you've got to be well trained to get in here. You got to be well trained. And she said, well, you know, it's just a gray screen. And he said, well, I don't have anybody that I can right now train you. So it's going to be a while. I'm working on it. We don't have anybody that can train you. She got they were elected in April. Remember, complexity masks fraud. And this is evidently a very complex issue for the mayor to have full access, read only, of the city's financial documents and contracts. Only this guy, only Doug Baber, the city administrator who replaced Mario Gispert, who spent a couple of years there after getting the boot in Panama City Beach. He says he just retired early.
But our software does work with those. So that might give you an opportunity both ways to do that. So thought I'd pass those ideas along. Those are some of the kind of due diligence things I was doing in the background. So it's all right.
So what the timeline was on this, I asked this to Debbie on a Friday at 9 a.m. And then I get an email. I emailed out because she asked me to send it to her and Doug. She didn't have any problem doing this. And I want to go back to the reason I asked for this, actually. The reason I asked for this because our charter reads that I, as the mayor, am the executive and fiscal official for the city. So with that.
Notice all the fidgeting from the city administrator closest to us on the right and the city attorney closest to us on the left. Look at all the fidgeting. Look at all the shuffling around of paper.
That I felt and checked with other attorneys and said I should be able to see this. We are trying to move toward transparency. We should be more transparent. And I really felt strongly that I should have access to this. I didn't have to ask for council to, they could, but I didn't have to ask for the council to. At the same time, I really felt like roadblocks were put up during this process. There was no explanation. So I did meet with Doug. I did meet with Mr. Cahill on the 1st after the incident through the 28th through the 30th. And then I talked to Debbie again, and everything just felt like roadblocks. Mr. Baker said, I'm not hiding anything. And I honestly said, it felt like you were, you know, and I don't accuse anybody of hiding anything. All I did was ask for access. And then, so I asked Mr. McCahill to send me a written legal opinion on why this was preventing me from getting access. I asked him to have that by the 5th so I could bring it to this. I did talk to the auditors on the 5th when I did not receive that, and was told that they got a call on the 28th that stopped our audit, which was scheduled to start this week.
Whoa.
And that sent up a red flag to me. So
Awesome.
all I can report to you guys is what I've experienced.
All right. So the audit got stopped by the city administrator, who's the only one talking to the auditors. Wait till you see the people, because I'm going to show you a video of last night's meeting, and I'm going to show you the councilman who read the attorney right now. That attorney on the left, he wrote a legal opinion, which was like a page long or a couple pages long, with no case law, that just said, no, you don't. You're not the chief. You're not the chief fiscal officer. You know, there's other considerations. It's all very complicated, lady. So just calm down. just calm down. Okay. is slow your roll. You don't need to be getting in there too quick. Well, Jerry Smith is the councilman who yesterday read the newest legal opinion. And wait till you hear this. I'm going to play it for you right now. He's going to explain why, Mayor, you don't have any more authority, any more jobs than we have. We are a council-run city. Now, and then I'm going to show you the legal opinion, the official legal opinion from 2015 that says the mayor is the chief elected fiscal and administrative officer, which is different than Panama City Beach, Lynn Haven, and Panama City. Why don't we do that now? Let me show you. These guys are all new to me, so I need to remember the name of the councilman who read this. Jerry Smith. All right, here we go. This is from last night. He's going to read why they need to limit her power. She's got to ask them. Basically, they all have to approve everything. And then I'm going to show you what the actual legal opinion says. The one from 2015, the official legal opinion. Geez, I just clicked on the wrong thing here. All right, so the meeting last night, you're not going to believe this. Here it is. Here's Jerry Smith explaining his opinion on her powers that she's claiming to have just because it's in the charter.
We're going to move to our consent agenda. We have 2 sets of minutes, May 9th, and then our meeting minutes, and then our town hall minute.
So this is the guy to her right. The guy to her right is the one who put this on the agenda. Look, we got to slow this woman down. She's trying to get into the financials. All right. She's assuming authority. She's asserting authority. That's in the charter, but we all know it's more complicated than that. So remember, as you're listening to this, gentlemen, these are the people who got $100 million to spend or so from FEMA.
So I went over both of them, sort of outlined what I thought we needed to do. And I hope everybody sort of agrees with what you said in that notice between it and me. But I also got something I'd like to read that I put together from all 3 or 4 of them, from the charter and the ordinances that has been going for 40 years. 40 years this has been going with the charter. So this hadn't changed. Where we
by the way, you'll see him making gestures towards somebody. And that somebody he's making these gestures toward is me. I'm standing right there. He keeps looking up at me because he wants me to understand very clearly. Now, his numbers are a little off, but I'm not going to nitpick. And so when he's looking and saying, like you said, because I'd gone up there earlier and said, look, what are you doing, City Attorney Clint McCahill? What are you doing? You know that ordinances don't supersede charters, because what happened was the charter they're operating under was done in 1985. And it designated the mayor the chief fiscal and administrative official of the city. And but in 2005, they passed an ordinance that established the city administrator position. And within that position, they gave administrative supervision. They gave fiscal supervision. But what's very important, and that's fine, but that does not take it away from the mayor. Just because that role was put in the city through ordinance, no ordinance supersedes the charter. You can still have both, but only one is the chief. They can't quite understand that. Actually, they all understand that. But under no circumstance do they want her looking into those financials. Watch the reasoning here.
But we're going to change it. I think Mr. William might bring it up later or something with the chart. But the ordinance to still stand. But I like to, this is what I put together. I'd like to voice my thoughts on how to utilize the strengths of the people sitting around this table. I'd like to thank Clint for providing all of us with his answers to the mayor's questions of her role in our government, and think we should trust his council so we can move forward with more constructive meetings. And Nick's too. I got the other copy. If somebody wants that copy, I can probably get it from Tammy. First, without question, the city charter is the ruling document, as you said, of the city. Hands down, it's like our constitution. The charter states that the mayor shall be a chief elected administrator and fiscal official, yet does not define the role of CEO, CFO. The charter does clearly and definitely state that the city council is the ruling body of the city, not the mayor, not a council person, not the administrator, the city council, period. While parts of the 60-year-old charter are outdated, the city has smoothly operated for close to 40 years without any major separate planning to sell the CEO, CFO. It's hard to imagine giving a 2-year elected official undefined power. It seems the role of the administrator is also in question. Telephone, please. The telephone's out there. I don't want to be distracted.
Please make sure your phones are on silence.
Thank you. The chain of command, Doug's responsibilities are outlined in the city ordinance, and I think we need to recognize that his man is both competent, effective, and remains in the scope of his job description. Lastly, outside private attorneys or CPAs associated with council members have no standing with the city, none. The city attorney, city accountant, city clerk, and the city administrator are trained, educated, experienced in performing the duties assigned to them. If your mayor, by choosing to declare themselves the CEO, CFO of the city, becomes a micromanager, then productivity in this city will cease. Meaning, we as a council have failed in our responsibility to the citizens and the taxpayers. Actually, without council authority, cannot continue. I like for all of us at this table to work toward completeness. We were elected to champion the city. Let's try to do that together. Now, that's what I see. But I would like for us as a council, going through what Clint's got and what Nick's got, and then our city charter, to understand that we are a city council run, not the mayor. Ms. Miller, you agree with that?
No, sir, I actually do not.
I wouldn't expect you to. But as a council, I'd like to find out where we stand. How are we gonna do this? How about you?
You talked about working as a team going forward and all that. I'm all with you on that, okay? How are we gonna do that if we can't settle this? I mean, it's just a simple question.
Well, I'd like to know, what do you expect from the council? What do you want us to do? What is your plan or agenda? That way we'll know what we're up against. Now we don't know. I mean, the city's in a turmoil with our employees and at the office up there. So if you let us know, I would appreciate it as a council.
Okay, so the city charter states that in 2 places. First place, that the mayor does have, you have to remember that this charter was updated in 1985.
All right, I'm gonna go over this more specifically. I'm gonna show you the document actually. All right, but it gets so hostile in here. I mean, it gets so hostile. One guy bangs the table, says, "Didn't you read your job description?" And I don't remember what else he said. It's unbelievable. I'll show you more of the videos later, but I do want to show you the actual legal opinion about how the power, how the authority is distributed and designated by charter. And it's becoming more clear why they don't want to live by the Constitution of the city, the supreme law of the city charter. All right. It's becoming more and more clear when you think about how much money's come through there, how they've postponed audits, how only one person is talking to the auditor, how they're trying to undermine the authority granted to the mayor. It's just incredible. All right, I'm going to show you the actual legal documents right after this. It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan can make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at pcairrepair.com. You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome. So Al Cathy was the mayor in Mexico Beach from 2005 to 2015. In 2015, you had Tom Bailey was the mayor for 2 years. And at that time, as soon as Al Cathy was out and Tom Bailey was in, evidently Bailey requested a review of what authority is granted to that position of mayor. And so a review was done by the Harrison Sale McCloy, the big legal team, the Cole Son Davis, Doug Sale, and Amy Myers, all of them. This one was done by Nick, and I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but it's on there. Actually, Nick has always been the one I thought was by far the most honest and professional. And so he reviewed the charter and case law, and this is the city, this is Mexico Beach, their official analysis of the power. So let's take a look at it. All right. In general, a city charter must be amended by referendum. In other words, the voters have to change it. The council can't. Over the years, certain exceptions to this rule have been applied in some charters, but amendments that change the form of government or the distribution of powers among elected officers have always required a referendum. This memorandum, this legal opinion, concludes that the city is governed by a mayor-council form of government, and consequently, the mayor has powers beyond those of other individual council members. Though those powers are not specified clearly, because Ordinance 486 and 596, which formally established the city administrator position in 2005, would be invalid if they changed the city's form of government and distribution of powers between elected officials. This is the key, this is the most important thing. Here, you read that. Those ordinances should not be interpreted to have established a council manager form of government like Panama City Beach, Panama City, Lynn Haven, by removing the mayor's powers and granting them to the city administrator. Read that again. That is exactly what they're doing now. Therefore, despite the establishment of the city administrator position in 2005, the city continues to function as a mayor-council form of government. The city administrator has the powers enumerated to him pursuant to the ordinance, and it includes fiscal and administrative powers, but not above the mayor's. And it doesn't remove the mayor's. The mayor and the city administrator have concurrent authority regarding some areas of city administration. All right, let's take a look at another one. This is also from the same legal analysis, the official legal analysis of Mexico Beach from 2015. This statute, the one that, let's see. All right, so they're talking about a Florida statute in 2015. And does this statute that was established in 2015, does it affect Mexico Beach? And the answer was not really. This statute is not directly applicable to Mexico Beach's current situation because the city's current charter was adopted in 1985 and amended in 2003. Look at the bottom paragraph. Finally, it is noteworthy that the charter reserves authority to the council including the statement in section 2.07 that the powers and duties of the mayor shall be such as conferred upon him by state laws, this charter, and the city council. In that order. This statement certainly has some effect. However, it cannot provide a means to amend the charter without a referendum. In other words, the powers granted in the charter to each position is still in place. All right, one more. The Florida Supreme Court provides that the rules of statutory construction require a term to be given its plain and ordinary meaning. Remember, the key word here is chief. She is the chief elected administrative and fiscal official. So the word chief, when applied to an organization, means the person in charge. All right, plain, it's easy, which can be ascertained by reference to a dictionary. It is well settled rule of statutory construction that the absence of a statutory definition, in the absence, courts can resort to definitions in the same term found in case law. So in other words, just because, and this is the argument that they're making to try to keep her from seeing the financials, just because the charter doesn't define the terms like current legislation does, if it doesn't define it in the charter, well, then case law, you can look at previous cases to see what applies, or the common definition in a dictionary. They know this. They're playing games. It goes on. Furthermore, legislation should be interpreted to give effect to every clause in it and to accord meaning and harmony to all of its parts, and is not to be read in isolation, but in the context of the entire section. Now, that's interesting because one of the council members accuses my position of reading it in isolation. But actually, that's what I should play it for you. That's actually what the current city attorney, Clint McCahill, did just yesterday. He only reads half of the sentence that says the city bestows all powers upon the council. He highlighted that, but he left out the second part of the sentence that says, except for the powers given by the charter. So I'm not the one reading it in isolation. The modern attorney is, whose little paper that he whipped together completely contradicts this more thoughtful and 2015 official opinion of Mexico Beach. I mean, Clint McCahill, you ought to be so embarrassed. And the rest of, well, I don't know what the reading comprehension is on these guys, to be honest with you, on the council. I mean, you've got the guy sitting to her left who's smart enough. He used to be the clerk, he said, for a long time. So he knows, hey, here's a clue. If you want to know the skeletons in Mexico Beach, that guy says he knows them all. He said he knows stuff like the back of his hand. He knows the city. And he's smart. But I'm not, but he's saying that I'm reading things in isolation when that's exactly what the attorney did. That contradicts the official legal opinion that I'm reading to you. So the Florida, then it cites some case law, but look at the middle. Look at the middle. Remember, Mexico Beach City Charter designates Mexico Beach as a mayor-council form of government. And what does it say in the middle there? Well, that does have a well-known meaning that is found in case law. While it is true that the details of a mayor-council form of government will vary from city to city, the distinction between a mayor-council form and a pure council form is clear. And what does it involve? It involves this. A mayor having additional authority, like, being the chief elected administrative and financial official. Something like that. All right, compared to other individual council members. That's the distinction. See, that distinction does not exist in Lynn Haven, Panama City Beach, and Panama City. And Mexico Beach is claiming to be just like them. We've got a city administrator. That's just like a city manager. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not in this case. And your own legal opinion says so. But these maniacs yesterday, they were holding them side by side. Well, they say the same thing. They contradict each other. One is thorough and one is whipped together by the current dude because they don't want her looking at the financials. Look at this. So let's look at the bottom sentence. It even talks about the similarities to the Mexico Beach Charter. Essentially contemplates a commission form of government. But Harrison Sale McCloy, the big law firm that we always talk about, now they're called Arundel Sale or something like that. But concluding that the mayor's power to appoint other council member positions should not be changed without referendum. All right, so in other words, Mexico Beach is in an incredible municipal crisis right now. You've got one guy, the city administrator, that's been there for 2 years, Doug Baber, who's the only one with full access to all the city's financials and contracts. Other people have some access that he gives them. He's the only one that talks to the auditors. He delayed the audit. And he says, look, I got this. I got it. And the rest, here's what's known as, I don't know. I'm thinking of a word. I'm searching for a word. Oh, I know. Red flag. When the rest of the council that has no authority in the charter says, look, we're the ones doing the oversight here. He answers to us. No, he gives you a presentation. That's a little different. There's a municipal crisis in Mexico Beach. They got somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million in FEMA money. Al Cathy, the old long-time establishment mayor, is not there to protect them. And now, just like Panama City, by the way, today Doc Rowan was sworn into office. You look at two cities that got a boatload of FEMA money. Panama City and Mexico Beach. Well, their establishment, St. Joe mayors, are gone. Voters kicked them to the curb. Bernicki's not there in Panama City anymore. And the city manager just resigned. A surprise resignation yesterday. Panama City. Mexico Beach is freaking out because Al Cathy, the St. Joe mayor, he's not there. So now you've got, in Panama City and Mexico Beach, two new mayors who want to see all the financials, all the contracts. And people are having conniptions, making up all kinds of non sequiturs, doing intellectual, backflips, trying to explain why chief financial official doesn't really mean that. If you take into context, these two guys, the city administrator and the city attorney, who, what do they do again? Oh, tried to put Michelle Miller in jail with the help of State Attorney Larry Bassford last year for sunshine law violations. They were dismissed. They thought it would ruin her chances to win, and she won anyway. And now they are up against it. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going to tell you a lot more about those finances and about the people in charge of the finances. The only guy with the key to the city bank. No, other people have some access. There's a guy who writes checks. There's somebody here who does a book, and then but only one guy has access to everything. Even though the chief the boss of the organization in that regard is designated by charter. Got to keep her out. What's Doc Rowan going to find? Do you think Doc Rowan is going to take a look? Do you think Michelle Miller is eventually going to take a look despite this roadblock? I think so. And I am curious as I'll get out what they're going to find. All right, I got to wrap it up. I do want to thank, as always, the Unknown Patriot for your support. And I've got more video from this meeting that you're absolutely not going to believe. I'll put it together and I'll show it to you, and I'll be back with you soon.